This is R.D. Sharma Solution Class 12 Chapter 18. Maxima and Minima MCQ we are taking. Multiple choice questions. Let x, y be two variables and x greater than 0 and x into y equals to 1. Then the minimum value of x plus y is. Now we have to find out the minimum value of x plus y, and xy equals to 1 is already given. So we are going to utilize it. The first thing is x into y is equal to 1. What do you get from here? You get a relationship between x and y. So y will be equal to 1 by x. This is your first equation. Then we have the x plus y which has to be minimized or maximized. So we have x plus y. This is the function we have to deal with. We will replace y by 1 by x here. So it will be x plus 1 by x. F dash x is what? We have to differentiate this. It will be 1 minus 1 by x square. And then third one is, or the next step is going to be equating it to 0. So 1 minus 1 by x square equals to 0. That is 1 by x square equals to 1. That is x square equals to 1. That is x equals to plus minus 1. So we have x equals to plus minus 1. Now in the question it is already given, it is x greater than 0. So we cannot have the negative value. So we can only use x equals to positive 1. X equals to positive 1. Now if x equals to 1, what will be the value of y? Because x equals to 1 by y and y equals to 1 by x. So if 1 is 1, the other 1 will also be 1. Now the final value will be, when you take x equals to 1, y equals to 1, 1 plus 1, x plus y, 1 plus 1 equals to 2. So 2 is the answer. Now the question is finished as far as MCQ is concerned, this one. But if this question is not in MCQ, then you have to do one more step. That is the double differentiation, and you have to double differentiate, and double differentiation then put the value of 1 and find out whether you are actually getting minimum 1 or not. So we have 2 by x cube, we will replace x by 1 and we get that 2 is positive. Positive means you are getting a minimum value. So this stamped, this proved that this is the minimum value. So how are we going to go about it? This is in front of you now. The only thing which is important here is x greater than 0, so you won't take x equals to negative 1 in any case. 1 plus 2 sin x plus 3 cos square x. This x is between 0 and 2 pi by 3. Please remember, x has to be between 0 and 2 pi by 3. So minimum, maximum, there are 4 options. And at what value? This is the question. At x equals to 2, pi by 2, or 1 by root 3 sin inverse, pi by 6 or 1 by 6. The start will be the differentiation of the original value. So just differentiate this. F dash x will be what? It will be 2 cos x, and this goes 6, cos x will be minus n x. So minus 3, 6, minus 6 cos x. This is the first derivative. You can take a certain thing common here. 2 cos x is common in both the terms. When we take 2 cos x, it will be 1 minus 3 sin x inside. Second thing will be the equating it to 0. So once you equate it to 0, you get 2 cos x into 1 minus 3 sin x equals to 0. It can be cos x equals to 0. It can be 1 minus 3 sin x equals to 0. And this 1 minus 3 sin x 0 will give you sin x equals to 1 by 3. So cos x equals to 0 and sin x equals to 1 by 3. What is the value of x for which you get cos x equals to 0? See, cos 0 equals to 1, cos pi by 2 equals to 0. So you have x equals to pi by 2. Now we have the first option in this MCQ which is saying minimum at x equals to pi by 2. So you will be tempted to just check it. But this sin equals to 1 by 3, which is x equals to sin inverse 1 by 3, also needs to be checked. How are we going to check it? Simply we have to double differentiate. Once you double differentiate, then you have to put these value x equals to pi by 2 and x equals to sin inverse 1 by 3 and see whether you are getting the minimum or maximum. I hope you got the idea. So see here, we get x equals to pi by 6, pi by 2 and x equals to sin inverse 1 by 3. Double differentiation we have to do. Double differentiation, checking at pi by 2 and sin inverse 1 by 3 together. This is f pi by 2. When you place this x equals to pi by 2 in double differentiation, I am saying. So we don't have to find out the value. if what I am doing right now is finding out the value of the function at x equals to pi by 2 or x equals to sin inverse 1 by root 3, that we don't have to do. We just have to double differentiate and put this x equal to pi by 2 and x equals to sin inverse 1 by 3 and see whether we are getting minimum or maximum. But do remember that x is in between 0 and 2 pi by 3. It is in between that. So I don't know what is sin inverse 1 by 3. You also don't know. Because in this type of question, there are certain values of sin and cos which are on our tips. But sin inverse 1 by 3, these kind of questions we have not dealt normally. Okay, so I am double differentiating it, putting pi by 2. When we put pi by 2, it will be minus 2, 6 cos pi is minus 1. So you get 6 minus 2. 4 is positive, that is greater than 0. You are going to get minimum value here. So minimum at x equals to pi by 2 is proved here. We have already showed it. Now, if the question is that multiple choice and multiple choices can be chosen, then the scenario becomes different. But here, because only one option is to be chosen, x equals to pi by t minimum is our answer, and we will stop here. X equals to pi by 2, you are going to get local minima. And if you do this as I was discussing earlier, sin inverse 1 by 3, when you place it here, what are you going to get? I'll tell you what is the value, because here sin and sin inverse are going to get cancelled, and this 6 cos sin inverse inside, you can cancel this sin and sin inverse, and you can change this cos into sin or sin inverse into cos inverse, because cos pi by 2 minus theta is sin theta, sin pi by 2 minus theta is cos theta. One way you can take like this. Or you can take sin inverse and cos inverse relationship and convert this sin inverse into cos inverse. And then you can cancel this cos and cos inverse. So that I leave for you. I'll just show you what will be the final result. And that final result, actually we don't have to do it if it is a MCQ question. Since we are just discussing and this is your growing period, you need to understand that you have to check it for sin inverse 1 by 3 also. So again, cos into sin inverse 1 by 3, cos and sin inverse cannot be cancelled, but sin and sin inverse can be cancelled. So cos can be converted into sin inverse, as I was telling. Again, sin inverse can be converted into cos inverse. So you can cancel cos and cos inverse then. Alright. So what do you do here? The final value which you see here, the last thing which I wrote for the numbers, if you take negative outside, it will be negative. Negative is going to give you the maximum value, and this maximum value will be only at 1 by 3. But since there is no option of 1 by 3, I am just completing it for the sake of your knowledge. Otherwise, x equals to pi by 2 and the final first option is always true, which we have already done. It's sin inverse 1 by root 3. Remember, it's not sin inverse 1 by 3. Otherwise, we would have worried, oh no, it may be sin inverse 1 by 3 because we are getting sin inverse 1 by 3. But we are not getting it. It's sin inverse 1 by root 3. How are we going to do it? So this is in front of you, all the discussion which we did. Function fx equals to this one is maximum at x equals to what? So we have x equals to fx. We are differentiating it right now, f dash x. When you differentiate it, what are you going to get? 6x square minus 30x plus 36, and this one has to be differentiated and equated to 0. Once you equate it to 0, 6x square minus 30x plus 36 equals to 0, you can divide both the sides by 6. So you will get x square minus 5x plus 6. This has become quite easy now. X minus 2 into x minus 3 are the two factors. So x will be equal to either 2 or x will be either 3. 2 and 3 are the options. So this is maximum at x equals to what? Either it can be x equals to 2 or it can be x equals to 3. These are the only options we have right now. So we'll check it. We will double differentiate this 6x square minus 30x plus 36. Please remember, x square minus 5x plus 6 is the simplified version when we equated it to 0. But eventually we have to deal with 6x square minus 30x plus 36, which is the single derivative. Double derivative is 12x minus 30, and we will put this value 2 and 3 here. When we put 2, we are going to get negative 6, and this is negative means maximum. We are going to get the maximum value, and this is the maximum value. Question is also saying maximum value. We are also getting the maximum value. So, but we still need to check for 3 just for the sake of completion. So, if f double dash 3 is there, this 3 in x, that is 12 into 3 minus 30. 36 minus 30 is 6. 6 is minimum. So, the question is asking about maximum. So, we won't keep an eye on this, but we will give the answer as what I suggested. The maximum value of fx equals to this one on minus 1 and 1. And this question we have already covered up. If you remember, we got plus minus 2 and I told you it is out of the bound of negative 1 and 1. So we need to check for negative 1 and 1 only, because this negative 2 and 2 is out of the bound. It is going, say, away or outside the boundary being provided. So we have those who are following me, they know that 1 by 6 and negative 1 by 4 has already come. We have discussed this in detail, but you can just do it. If you have any problem, then just let me know. We can again take care of this question. Now this question, the minimum value of x log x is equal to. So those who have already done this, because we have done this question, but since for the sake of completion, as I was suggesting, fx is equal to x log x. We will differentiate this. And differentiation will be x log x is 1 by x plus log x. This will be 1. So it will be 1 plus log x. When we have 1 plus log x, the second thing will be what? F dash x equals to 0. So 1 plus log x will be equal to 0. Log x will be equal to negative 1. So e raised minus 1 or e to the power minus 1 is x. So x will be equal to 1 by e. So x equals to 1 by e is the point of extreme or point of criticality, or critical point or extreme point. But the minimum value of this, we have to find out the minimum value of the function. So we have to place this 1 by e in the original function to get the value. And before that, we have to just check for minimum and maximum also. So f double dash x, we will double differentiate this, and we have to double differentiate 1 plus log x. It will be simply 1 by x. And at x equals to 1 by e, what are you going to get? You are going to get e. This is minimum. Because it is a positive value. Positive value will give you minimum. So this minimum will be, what is the minimum? f 1 by e we have to compute. I am putting this 1 by e in the original function. 1 by e log e 1 by e. Now when you take this 1 by e as e raised minus 1, because it is already in the denominator, if you place it in the numerator, it will be the power of negative 1. So this is e raised minus 1 log base e will get cancelled, negative 1 will come in front, so negative 1 by e. This is negative 1 by e is the final result which we can achieve here, and this is how we are going to solve this. Alright. The minimum value of the function, this one is, so we will first differentiate this function. Once you differentiate this function, you will get, this is 3 to the 6 x square. I'm not writing the original function, it is already in front of you. So this is the first derivative I'm writing, minus 42x plus 36. Local minima maxima, you have to equate this to 0. So 6x square minus 42x plus 36 equals to 0. You can divide every left hand side and right hand side by 6. So x square minus, this will be 7x and 6 is 36. So x square minus x minus 6x plus 6 equals to 0. X minus 1 minus 6 x minus 1. So x minus 1 and x minus 6 are the 2 points of criticality, you can say. Critical points, extreme points. So 1 and 6 will check. And the minimum value of the function, you just check 1 and 6. Whichever is the minimum, just tick that one. And we have to find out the minimum value of the function. So this 1 and 6 has to be placed in place of x in order to get the value. But before that, double differentiation we are doing to just check whether we are actually getting minimum or maximum. So at 1 and 6 both will check in the double differentiation. Double differentiation of 6x square minus 42x plus 36 already written, 12x minus 42. Now I'm replacing x by 1 in one case and x equals to 6 in one case. So negative 30 is minimum, 30 is, which is positive, is maximum. So what will be the correct value? You have to put the 1 because you are getting minimum at 1. So when you place 1, the function will give you negative 128. So first option is the correct option here. Minus 128, correct option. This is the value of the function. So this is how you are going to take the reference and try to solve it. And after doing these many questions, I hope you are well aware now. So thank you so much and have a good one.